Thursday morning action here. We have got a full slate of college basketball games on the way today. Some great action, SEC, ACC, Big 12, Big 10. So many good games going on today. I'm breaking down a few of the matchups and then a money line parlay. You guys know how we do it here on the Free 3. Let's get into this board.
I love it, Noble. Noble, I also love your YouTube videos. I watched them while I was gone. That was fire.
But getting paid because yesterday we had a full sweep. Mike going under, that was just icing on the cake. Why are we going to go
in such a weak AFC South?
Unless we have the NBA Blowout Association.
Bang! Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13 seconds.
When you hear the sirens, you know what that means.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
What is up, my friends? It is your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and make some money. How has Champ Week been for you guys thus far? Let me know. I mean, it's been a roller coaster for me. I am not going to lie. There's been so many things going on with the money line parlays, with the individual plays, teams getting upset. West Virginia. I'm going to talk about last night's card for us here in a second, but can we talk about West Virginia for a second? The agony, the pain. Like, I literally, if I share my screen real quickly, I think I gave out a hardwood haymaker yesterday on Twitter. And guys, when I tell you, I really thought it was going to hit. Like, I called my boy. Like, I'm one of those people, like, if you don't watch the show, you don't watch the show. I'm not going to just, like, text you my plays. But, like, I texted my boy yesterday, and I was like, bro, you got to get this hardwood haymaker. Put $20 on it. Watch what this thing does. And literally, Davidson, Arkansas, North Carolina, McNeese, Liberty, UNLV, Mississippi State, Kansas, Grand Canyon, Jacksonville State. Every single one smacked. But West Virginia. And that's kind of summed up what it's been like for us here on the channel over the last few days. But hopefully you guys have been making money in Champ Week, because my goal with the Moneyline Parlays is not for you only to take the 3 or 4 teams that I'm putting together, but to also show you kind of some of the teams that I like throughout the entire board. So sometimes what you can do is just take, hey, I can't miss parlay. Obviously, every parlay can miss. But what I mean by that, it maybe you just take one -300 leg and a few -700, -800, -1,000. Not to say that that can't miss, but it's a little bit better chance of that hitting than rather than two -245s. So let's play around with the strategy a little bit, guys, because I've been using it to help me make money, even though there's been some times where it looks like we're not. So yesterday for us, it was actually a break-even day here on the channel when you look at how we did on action. But for the official plays, we actually did go 1 and 2, a disappointing 1 and 2. So you can see here we went 3 and 3. A quick breakdown. Yesterday we started off the day tough with a loss on North Carolina. We got that right. But Southern, how they blew that game, I don't know. And then West Virginia, same type of thing. First parlay, that missed. I added Butler as a later play. Hopefully you guys grabbed that. It cashed, but I didn't give it out on the video. But the second parlay of the day, this was our no sweat out parlay. American crushed Navy. Mississippi State crushed LSU. And then McNeese, the biggest favorite, was actually probably the biggest sweat. But they got it done, so we got it done there. But late night is where things came back to bite us. I gave out Rutgers on the show. They lost. And then Georgia. We got Utah Valley right. We got Kansas right. And then Georgia. Oh, my goodness. Oklahoma's hitting tough shots. I can't lie. They hit tough shots. And they blew our late night parlay. But I did add a favorite parlay in the middle. Once our big hardwood haymaker, missed, I then went back to the slate, included some of those teams like Liberty, like UNLV, and I crafted another parlay. Again, this is why I try to give you a ton of teams, so this way you guys can get creative with it. If you lose the game early like West Virginia, you still have time to make it up a little bit later on in the day. I started off yesterday personally 1 and 8. That's how many parlays got blown by Southern West Virginia for me. But I finished the day 9 and 10. So I still was able to make some type of money yesterday, or not finish the day down as bad. Why? Because I was able to grab a few plays. Utah Valley here, Kansas there, Liberty here. So play around with some of the favorites, guys. They're favorites for a reason. I know we like to take underdogs. I know underdogs win in March at times, but nowhere near as high of a margin as favorites do. So for today's card, guys, I am going to get away from the moneyline parlays a little bit just because it hasn't been cashing on the channel as much as I wanted to, but I will stay on stream for a little bit longer today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish recording the free 3. I'm going to stop the recording, come back in like 5 minutes, and I'm going to craft up a few moneyline parlays. I will tell you I have Akron in the first moneyline parlay. If you're watching this live, thank you for tapping in. One of the first parlays that I've been playing with, and it's going to be the first strategy that I've been showing you guys. Let's look at some of the teams that we've been losing on recently. Georgia, it doesn't apply to Georgia, but let's say Southern yesterday, West Virginia yesterday. The day before, we had a few other teams. One thing I've been noticing is some teams are getting upset, but they're still winning in the first half. And when you're winning in the first half as a favorite, you can still get a team at even better odds. And instead of minus 350 full game, you can get minus 200. So for the first best bet of the day, I'm going to go to a first half here, and we're going to go to the Miami of Ohio taking on Eastern Michigan. I know it's an ugly game with such a full slate. You're like, no, but why would you take this game? Because I want to kind of bring in a strategy to your attention real quick. So Eastern Michigan, Miami, you can see Miami's minus 4.5 point favorite. That's about the line that we would take for a money line parlay, minus 200 or so. And I like them in a money line parlay situation today. But instead of laying the full game spread at minus 4.5 here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the first half. And you can see we can get minus 2 on a certain book, minus 2.5. My goal is to pay for a little bit of juice. On my book, I saw 1.5 at minus 125. So I'm going to take minus 1.5 at minus 125 to win 1 unit. I just want that one bucket of insurance. Miami of Ohio is the favorite. You can see they're 23-8 on the year. Meanwhile, Eastern Michigan is 16-5. If we go to KenPom real quickly and we look at Miami of Ohio, they finished in the conference standing second right behind Akron. So they're a team that is expected to compete in this tournament. And the other thing that I like in the MAC conference is this bracket setup right here. Every team that's playing, there's no buys. So it's not like Eastern Michigan got a warm-up game before Miami did. So everybody's on the same playing field. Everybody's fresh, a 2 against a 7. And the fact that is also when we look at the head-to-head here, let me go back real quickly to Miami of Ohio. You can see they beat Eastern Michigan earlier in the season on January 28th at home. But then they traveled to Eastern Michigan back in February a month ago and lost that game by 10 points. So they split the regular season. Everything is up for grabs here in a rubber match. KenPom has this as a 7-point win for Miami of Ohio, covering that 4.5 point spread pretty easily, but I just want to isolate it to the first half. We've been seeing some of these closer favorites get upset, some of these higher 1 seeds, 2 seeds. It happens. But they are winning the first half. West Virginia, if we had just taken the first half, that would have cashed. If we just took Southern first half yesterday, that would have cashed. There are a few other teams yesterday. Kansas, that game went into overtime. They got it done, but if you just took the first half, they would have cashed. All these teams are winning big sometimes in the first half, and then something's happening down the stretch. So that is a trend that I've been noticing. Then also when we go to team rankings and we look at first half margin, you can see Miami of Ohio is 60th in all of college basketball at plus 3.7. So they're winning the first half. What we're looking at here is team average first half margin. So basically, where do they win the first half by? You can see here they're 60th. They're winning the first half on average by 4 points. Now, if we type in here Eastern Michigan real quickly, we can see where they fall. Let's type them in. Michigan. Keep scrolling. Oh, there they are, 304th. They're losing on average in the first half by 4 points. So Miami of Ohio, they're more of a fast start team. Eastern Michigan, they get it going a little bit later on the game. I don't want to play with the second half. We've seen how upsets have been happening. First half, minus 1.5. We're going to lock that in for the first bet of the day. So going back to the college basketball slate. So what is one of the other parlays that I'm cooking up for the early slate? I'm going to go like Akron first half. I did St. John's first half, and then I also could throw in like Ole Miss if you want to. But what I also did is I did like Duke first half, and then I think I also did. I think that was it for the first like 12 o'clock. And that got me to like minus 130. I didn't get to plus value on that. But the thing is, Akron at minus 800. I mean, they should win their game, and I would take them in the full game as well. But I'm just saying to you guys, hey, some of these other games where we're getting this 4.5, 5-point favorites, take a look at the first half, because that's what's been happening. And some of these teams are McNeese. That game was close down the stretch. That's what's just been happening. All right. Our second best bet of the day is going to be another early game here. It's going to start around 2:30 p.m. and we're going to go here and we're going to take Marquette on the money line against Xavier at -145 here. We can get this at. The line is moved a little bit, but it's all right. We can take it here. Let me see if let's see. Is that 2.5? Okay, let's go 2.5 here. So I'm sure we can get. Let me go to DraftKings real quick. I want to be accurate for you guys. I want to see what they got Marquette at -1.5. I want to say that we can get it probably at -125, probably. I'll take Marquette at -1.5. Okay, -130. That's fine. We'll match DraftKings line. I don't feel like laying -145. And the reason why that is because we're taking a lot of money line parlays at +100, right? And a -145, like a +100 doesn't really nullify a -145. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, I don't want to lay so much juice right now because of just what we're doing strategy-wise. So we're going to go -1.5 here. We're going to go -130. And then we're going to lay 1 unit or to -130 to win 1 unit. So we're going to lock that in there. Now, Marquette, Madison Square Garden against Xavier. Xavier was a bubble team, guys. Let's go look at Xavier real quickly. They were one of those teams where they needed to win going down the stretch in order to make the tournament. And they did that. They won, you can see here, what is it, 6 or 7 straight games? And they got it done. They beat Creighton, an impressive win. But besides that win, none of these opponents are really the top dogs of the Big East, besides Creighton here. And that game was at home, right? They didn't play St. John's. They beat Marquette earlier in the season, right? They didn't play UConn in that stretch. They didn't play Cincinnati in that stretch. They played Seton Hall, DePaul, Providence twice. No disrespect. And Butler twice. No disrespect. None of those are tournament teams, though. Marquette is a tournament team. And Marquette is legit. And if we look at Marquette here, from not only what they do defensively at 21st in adjusted efficiency, but these turnover numbers are really critical. If you guys have been watching these games, I love this time of year because I actually sit and watch these games like all day. I literally don't work. I just watch these games and I dial in and I want to make money. And one of the things that you'll see is down the stretch, teams get frazzled. Teams turn over the ball. And you want a team that, one, doesn't turn over the ball a lot, but can cause turnovers. And that is what Marquette does really well. And when you're watching this game live, and if you see Marquette uncharacteristically turning over the ball a lot, then you know what to do. That means that you need a live trigger and maybe take Xavier live. Why? Because you see the tendency already happening in the first half. You already see it happening early in the second half, or they're not turning over the ball, or they're not hustling. That's how we lose on West Virginia. That's how we lose on some of these other favorites that we've taken. If you watch in the game, you can see pretty early on that they're not hustling. And a mistake I've been making over the last few days in my own personal bankroll is I've been taking some of these teams at like +6.5 when they get down. Rhode Island is a good example yesterday. You can have gotten them before a game at -190. You're going to get them like +100 live or so for a good bit. And then they got down very big, and you got them at +6.5, +7.5. I locked them in at +7.5. And guess what? They still lost. So now your position, you have the same team 2 or 3 times in different lays or in different plays. You got to be careful with that. So if you're watching the game, you're now able to say, you know what, like watching that Rhode Island game, just seeing how they were just not hustling, I could have known the other team was going to win. So I'm not saying jump ship sometimes, but that also can trigger in your mind if you're somebody who likes to double down or hedge off of your bets. These are some of the things that you need to think about. But Marquette here, they're just Shaka Smart. He's failed in tournaments in the past. We know what he's done here. But I think Xavier feels like they've done enough to get into the tournament. They are outclassed in this position here. 47th in defensive 3-point percentage for Marquette here. And I just like them. And then also the fact that they lost to this Xavier team right here on January the 18th. And then they also lost down the stretch. That St. John's loss was tough. That was a tough loss at home. I like them here. I think they're in a good position to get a little bit of revenge here. They should win this game. Ken Palm has this as a 4-point win, so I'm locking in Marquette here. Third and final best bet of the day, guys. I know I've been yapping a little bit today, just talking a lot of different bets. I just get fired up about college basketball and this time of year because you could really, really like grow a bankroll. You got to be aggressive, but you can really do some things for sure. Is a money line parlay of the day for you guys. Now, I will say I try to craft this as a can't miss parlay. I didn't try to do time slots. I didn't try to do anything. Now, if you do want to do some time slots, like I said, I'm going to be on stream for a little bit till about 11:30 or so. But this is what we're going to go with, all right, guys? 3 teams. They're all a little bit later on in the day. We're going to go Kentucky, Purdue, Louisville, Creighton. Now, I positioned these 4 teams from left to right this way on purpose. So this way you guys can see basically the odds value. So if we go to Kentucky real fast, Kentucky's minus 260. If we go to Purdue real fast, I'll throw them in the parlay so we don't have to go back to it. If you go see Purdue, they're minus 530. If you see Louisville real quick, they're minus 600. And then if you do Creighton here, they're minus 850. Okay? The reason why I did it that way, you see I guess it's plus 115. Replace what you don't like. If Kentucky is too much of a risky leg for you, if Purdue is not something that you want to mess around with because you don't want to mess with Eric Musselman and USC, right? Don't put it in there. But Kentucky is going to be probably the most sweat leg, and I'm just not a believer in Oklahoma. There's a lot of Kentucky fans in the building that travel from Lexington, Kentucky border is right near Nashville. It's not far. Like, it's literally an hour and a half drive. It is a smooth drive straight down. You can get to Nashville pretty easily. They are going to have this arena packed. It is a late night game. They're going to be on Broadway all day drunk, drinking, having a good time watching these games. And Oklahoma, they played great last night, but they hit some very tough shots against Georgia, in all honesty. And Georgia showed their youth at certain times yesterday in certain fouls, and I just don't see Oklahoma being able to keep up with Kentucky's offense in this game. I like Kentucky. I like them to cover the spread, but if you want to take another minus 260 like UConn, like Clemson, be my guest. And there's some way more earlier on the day that you can do as well, like Texas Tech. If you don't like Purdue at minus 500, maybe you like Illinois at minus 500. Play around with it, guys. There are a lot of favorites to play around with it, but I do like this can't miss parlay. I'm not going to talk about all these games. Purdue's playing USC. USC escaped in double overtime last night against Rutgers. Purdue, Braden Smith just got named Player of the Year in the conference. They're good. They're always a tournament team. Matt Painter, I like that team there. They're pretty good. The other 2 teams that we have here, Louisville, I think they can win the ACC tournament, in all honesty. I think a lot of people wrote them off all year. I think people are not surprised now that they're 17-2, 15-2 in conference, whatever they finished. But they could go to the Final Four. Like, they are like that. And they play with that fire, that chip. They've got a bunch of transfers in that played significant roles at other programs last year that have come together to mesh well. So that's a team to keep a look for. Stanford played a tough game against Cal last night. That's hard to come back from. I think Louisville jumps out on top of them. And then Creighton, again, offense is tough. DePaul, I don't see them getting it done. They beat Georgetown last night. Kudos to them. But those are the 4 teams that we're going to get done. All right? So that's what we're locking in for today's video, guys, here on the Free 3. 3 quick best bets for you guys. I try not to do overwhelm you with moneyline parlays. We've got 4-way, Kentucky, Purdue, Louisville, Creighton. I think all these games start at like 7 p.m. or later, so that's more of an afternoon parlay. Then we also got Miami over Ohio in the first half, minus 1.5. Now, again, I just really put this in here to kind of draw your attention to the strategy of taking some of these favorites like Creighton, like Louisville, like Purdue in the first half as well. Not only are you going to get better odds value, but then also you can stay off some of the upset alert. And what we've been seeing is some of these favorites have been jumping out to quick first half leads, and then for some reason they're crumbling down the stretch. Sometimes you get lucky like we did yesterday with Arkansas, and sometimes you don't. So this just gives you a kind of a different way to hedge off of it and manage your bankroll accordingly. And then finally, the last bet is going to be Marquette on the money line. That is an early start time around 2:30, so make sure you guys get that one locked in, all right? That's what I'm locking in for today's episode of the Free 3. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. I will be here on stream. It's currently 10:48 my time, so I'll probably hop back on at 11. And like I'll go through some money line parlays. All right, I'll talk some money line parlays. I'll talk in the chat if you guys want to hang out for a little bit. But I'll talk. I'll be back in like 5-10 minutes. We'll chop it up a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys. Let's have a day. And there are a lot of money line parlays that I do like, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I plan on trying to get 3 to 4 ladder legs done today. So I'm gonna craft those guys up with you guys here in a bit. All right. Let's get to that cheddar. Dictate your fate. And it's your boy Noble Living. I'll see you guys. Shark Lark, same Bond Adventure. All right, we're about to talk about it. Let's get into it. Later, guys. Let's have a day.